send a notice out. Fine. And check to make sure that we are online. Wait a second, let's see. Yes, we are live. Yes, we are live. Okay. Got it. All right. And here we go. All right, welcome to the nightly Caitanya Caritamrta reading. Let's see, today is the 9th. Okay. Okay, let me have a guitar. Okay, we are ready. So we're going to chant Sri Radhika Stava tonight. All right, here we go. Huh. Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Taruni Mandala Mahite Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Rati Vardhana Vese Adi Niskuta Vrinda Vipineshe Dammo Rati Vardhana Vese Adi Niskuta Vrinda Vipineshe Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Shabanu Dati Navashashileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Vishabanu Dati Navashashileke Lalita Saki Guna Ramita Vishake Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Radhe Jaya Jaya Madhava Karum Karum Mai Karuna Bharate Shanaka Sanatana Varnita Charite Karuna Koruna Bharate Shanakasanatana Varnita Charite Nande Jaya Jaya Madhavadite Nande Jaya Jaya Madhavadite Taruni Mandala Mahite Gokula Taruni Mandala Mahite Mande Jaya Jaya Madhavadite Mande Jaya Jaya Madhavadite Krishna, 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 Hati Hare Rama, Hati Rama, Rama Rama, Krishna, Hati Krishna, 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 Hati Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Krishna Hare Krishna, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jago, Haribo, Haribo, Haribo. Jai Om Vishnu Pad Paramahansa Paravikacharya Siddhata Satashi Shimad His Divine Grace Abhaya Charanad Bhaktivedanta Goswami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai ISKCON Founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Anantagoti Vaishnava Vrind Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shidwaita Gadadha Shivasati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopi Gopinath Sayam Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Vrindavanam Ki Jai Mathuram Ki Jai Jagadata Sami Ki Jai Yamunamai Ki Jai Shivali Lasadevi Ki Jai Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai Gaur Premananda Hari Haribo. All glory is to the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is the assembled devotees. All glory is to Shri Guru and Gauranga Shilabhop. Ki Jai Namo Vishnu Belaya. Krishna Prasthaya Budale Srimati Bhaktivedanta Swami Tinamani Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pacharani Nivashesha Srinivadi Paschatya Dejatarani. So, let me read the translation to this poem by Srila Rupa Goswami. O Radha, all glory is unto you. All glory is unto you, beloved of Madhava, object of worship for all the young girls of Gokula. You dress yourself in such a way as to increase Lord Damodar's love and attachment for you. You are the controller of Vrindavan, the pleasure groves of Lord Hari. You are a new moon arisen from the ocean of King Vrishabhanu, And you are the friend of Lalita, and your wonderful qualities, friendliness, kindness, and faithfulness to Krishna, endear you to Vishaka. You are an ocean of compassion, and your divine characteristics are described by the four Kumaras, Sanaka, Sanatan, Sananda, and Sanat Kumara. Okay, Srila Rupa Goswami Ki Jai. So we're going to continue with our reading of the Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, chapter 16, beginning with text 50. Chapter 16 of the Antya Lila, beginning with text 50 today. And we're nearing the end of the Caitanya Caritamrta, and we're going to discuss what book we'll read after this time. So, let's go. Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Caitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Okay, so yes, here's over text 50. So, of course, yesterday we read about Kalidas and Jadu Thakur and Lord Chaitanya. I'm just going to reiterate that story. Kalidas was a great devotee. He was a Brahmin. Yet, even though he was a Brahmin, he made sure he took the remnants and took the foot dust of all the Vaishnavas in the Mayapur Navadvip Bengal area. And even he took the foot dust and the remnants from the devotees who were born in Shudra families, what to speak of Brahmin families. So he would do this by giving them something to eat, probably like a mango or something like that, which he did in the case of Jadu Thakur. And he would hide outside their house until they ate the mango, and they sucked on the seeds and sucked on the skin and threw it in the garbage, and he would pick up the garbage and suck on those seeds and suck on the skin and take their remnants in this way. And also he would take the dust from their footprints. Then, when he arrived in Jagannath Puri, Lord Chaitanya let him drink his, that means Lord Chaitanya's foot-bathing water, at the entrance to the Jagannath temple 3 times. And then Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, Krishna has fulfilled your desire, enough is enough. That's because of his faith and dedication and service to the Vaishnavas. So this is a very, very important lesson for us. Okay, so let's go. Again, continuing the chapter with another story. Vaisha Pahacha Pache Ubara Dakshina Dike Eka Nrsingamurti Achena Udite Rama Bhake. On the southern side, beyond and above the 22 steps, is a deity of Lord Nrsingadev. It is on the left as one goes up the steps towards the temple. And actually, I was able to take darshan of this deity. I wasn't able to enter the temple, but I was able to take darshan of the deity. Pratidina Tanri Prabhu Harena Namaskara Namaskare Shloka Pade Bara Bara. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, his left side toward the deity, offered obeisances to Lord Nrsinga as he proceeded toward the temple. He recited the following verses again and again while offering obeisances. Namaste Narasimhaya Paladadayane Aranyakashipur Vaksha Shilatanka Nakalaihe. I offer my obeisances, respectful obeisances, unto you, Lord Nrsingadev. You are the giver of pleasure to Maharaj Palad, and your nails cut the chest of Hiranyakashipu like a chisel cutting stone. Ooh. This and the following verse are quoted from the Nrsinga Purana. And this is, of course, what we chant every morning and every time after an arti. Ito Nrsimha Parato Nrsingo Yato Yato Yamita To Nrsimha Vahir Singho Hridayena Singho Singhamatim Sharanang Vrapade. Lord Nrsingadev is here, and he is also there on the opposite side. Wherever I go, there I see Lord Nrsingadev. He is outside and within my heart. Therefore I take shelter of Lord Nrsingadev, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead. Tabi Prabhu Karila Jagannath Darashana Gadeyasi Majjana Kare Karila Bhojana. Having offered obeisances to Lord Nrsingadev, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu visited the temple of Lord Jagannath. Then he returned to his residence, finished his noon duties, and took his lunch. Bhir Dvarayache Kalidasa Pratyasha Kariha Govindere Tare Prabhu Kahena Janiya. Kalidas was standing outside the door, expecting the remnants of food from Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Knowing this, Mahaprabhu gave an indication to Govinda. Mahaprabhura Ingita Govinda Sabe Jane Kalidasari Dila Prabhura Shesha Patra Dane. Govinda understood all the indications of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu. Therefore, he immediately delivered the remnants of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu's food to Kalidas. And not only did Kalidas get a chance to drink the foot-bathing water of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, but Kalidas also got the opportunity to take Lord Chaitanya's remnants and have Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu arrange for his remnants to be delivered to him. Such is the benefit of serving Vaishnavas. Vaishnavera Shesha Bhakshanera Te Kea Mahima Kalidase Paulaila Prabhura Kripa Sima. Taking the remnants of the food of Vaishnavas is so valuable that it induced Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu to offer Kalidas his supreme mercy. Wow. Tate Vaishnavera Chuta Kauchari Grena Laja Yaha Haiti Paiva Nija Panchita Sabakaja. Therefore, now here's the instructions by Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, following in the mood of that story. Giving up hatred and hesitation, try to eat the remnants of the food of the Vaishnavas, for you will thus be able to achieve your desired goal of life. Krishnaro Chishtahaya Mahaprasada Nama Bhakta Sheshahaila Maha Prasadakyana. The remnants of food offered to Lord Krishna are called Mahaprasad. After the same Mahaprasad has been taken by a devotee, the remnants are elevated to Mahaprasad. That means great prasad. Mahaprasad means great, prasada Maha means great or big. Bhakta Pada Duliara Bhakta Pada Jala Bhakta Bhukta Vashesha Tina Mahabala. The dust of the feet of a devotee, the water that has washed the feet of the devotee, and the remnants of food left by a devotee are three very powerful substances. Remember this. Dust of the feet, water, foot bathing water, and food remnants, prasad remnants. Maha prasad. Aitina seva haite Krishna prema haya puna sarva shastre hukariya kaya. By rendering service to these three, one attains the supreme goal of ecstatic love for Krishna. In all the revealed scriptures, this is loudly declared again and again. Tate bara bara kahi shuna bhakta gana vishvasa karyakara etina sevana. Therefore, my dear devotees, please hear from me, for I insist again and again, please keep faith in these three and render service to them without hesitation. Tina hayate Krishna nama pramera ulasa Krishnara pasada tate sakshi kalidasa. From these three, one achieves the highest goal of life, ecstatic love of Krishna. This is the greatest mercy of Lord Krishna. The evidence is Kalidas himself. Lilachile Mahaprabhu Rahe He Mate Kalidase Mahakripa Kaila Alakshite. In this way, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu remained at Jagannath Puri, Nilachal, and he invisibly bestowed great mercy upon Kalidas. Wow. Sevatsara Shivananda Patni Lana Aila Puridasa Chota Putre Sangete Anila. That year Shivananda Sain brought with him his wife and youngest son, Puridas. Putra Sange Lanateno Aila Prabhustane Putrere Karaila Prabhura Charana Vandane. Taking his son, Shivananda Sain went to see Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at his residence. Shivananda made his son offer respectful obeisances at the lotus feet of the Lord. Krishna Kaha Bali Prabhu Balena Bara Bara Tabu Krishna Nama Balaka Nakare Uchara. Again and again, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked the boy to chant the name of Krishna, but the boy would not utter the holy name. Oh my God. Shivananda Balakere Bahuyatna Kadila Tabuse Balaka Krishna Nama Nakahila. Although Shivananda Sain tried with much endeavor to get his boy to speak Krishna's holy name, the boy would not utter it. Prabhu Kahe Aminama Jagate La Yailun Stavare Pariyanta Krishna Nama Kahailun. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, I've induced the whole world to take to the holy name of Krishna. I've induced even the trees and immovable plants to chant the holy name. Ihare Narilun Krishna Namak Kahaite Shunya Surupa Goshani Lagila Kahite. But I could not induce this boy to chant the holy name of Krishna. Hearing this, Swarup Damodar Goswami began to speak. Tumi Krishna Nama Mantra Kaila Upadeshe Mantrapanakara Age Nakare Prakashe. My Lord, he said, you have given him initiation to the name of Krishna, but after receiving the mantra, he will not express it in front of everyone. Mani Mani Chape Muke Nakare Akyana Ehara Manakata Karyanu Mana. This boy chants the mantra within his mind but does not say it aloud. That is his intention as far as I can guess. Aradina Kahena Prabhu Padapuri Dasa E Shloka Kariteno Karila Prakasha. Another day when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said to the boy, recite, my dear Puridas, the boy composed the following verse and expressed it before everyone. So he's a poet. Shavaso Kuvalyam Akshnora Jnanam Uraso Mahendramani Dhamma Vrindavana Ramanyan Mamaninam Mandanam Akilam Hari Jayati. Lord Shri Krishna is just like a bluish lotus flower for the ears. He has ointment for the eyes and a necklace of Indranila gems for the chest, and universal ornaments for the gopi damsels of Vrindavan. Let that Lord Shri Hari Krishna be glorified. Sata Vatserera Shishu Nahi Adhyayana Achi Shlokakare Lokera Chamatkara Mana. Although the boy was only 7 years old and still had no education, he composed such a nice verse. Everyone was struck with wonder. Chaitanya Prabhure Kripara Mahima Ramadi Devagyara Nahi Payasima. This is the glory of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy, which even the demigods headed by Lord Brahma cannot estimate. Bhakta Gana Prabhu Sange Rahi Charimase Prabhu Vakya Dila Sabe Gela Goda Ishe. All the devotees remained with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continuously for 4 months. Then the Lord ordered them back to Bengal, and therefore they returned. Tansavada Sanghe Prabhura Chila Vaya Jnana Tanragele Punahaila Unmada Pradana. As long as the devotees were in Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu maintained his external consciousness, but after their departure, his chief engagement was again the madness of ecstatic love for Krishna. Ratri Dine Spure Krishnara Rupaganda Rasa Sakshad Anubhavayena Krishna Upasparsha. Throughout the entire day and night, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu directly relished Krishna's beauty, fragrance, and taste, as if he were touching Krishna hand to hand. Ekadina Prabhu Gela Jagannatha Darashane Singadware Tala Iyasi Karila Vandane. One day, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to visit the temple of Lord Jagannath, the gatekeeper of the Singadwara approached him and offered respectful obeisances. Hari Bale Kota Krishna Mora Prananath More Krishna Dekaro Bale Tare Tara Hata. The Lord asked him, "Where is Krishna, my life and soul? Please show me Krishna." Saying this, he caught the doorkeeper's hand. Seha Kai in Haya Bajendranandana Aisa Tumi Mora Sange Karana Darashana. The doorkeeper replied, "The son of Maharaj Nanda is here. Please come along with me and I shall show you. Tumi Mora Saka Dehaha Dekha Kahan Prananath Etapali Jagamohana Geladari Tarahata." Lord Chaitanya said to the doorman, "You are my friend. Please show me where the Lord of my heart is." After the Lord said this, they both went to the place known as Jagamohana, where everyone views Lord Jagannath. Seha Bale Eka Deka Shipurushotama Nechapariyatumi Karaha Darashana. "Just see," the doorkeeper said. "Here's the best of the personalities of Godhead. From here you may see the Lord to your full satisfaction of your eyes." Grudera Pachirahi Karena Darashana Dekena Jagannatahaya Murali Vadana. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu stayed behind the huge column called the Garuda Stamba and looked upon Lord Jagannath, but as he looked he saw that Lord Jagannath had become Lord Krishna with his flute to his mouth. E Lila Nijagrante Raghunatha Dasa Goranga Stava Kapavrikshe Kariyachena Prakasha. In his book known as the Goranga Stava Kapavriksha, Raghunatha Das Goswami has described this incident very nicely. Kvame Kanta Krishna Twaritam Mihatam Lokaya Sake Twamireti Dwarapdipam Avivadan Unmada Iva Drutam Gachadrashtum Priyam Iti Taduktena Drutatad Bujantar Gorango Hridaya Udayanmam Madayati. My dear friend, the doorkeeper, where is Krishna, the Lord of my heart? Kindly show him to me quickly. With these words, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu addressed the doorkeeper like a madman. The doorkeeper grasped the Lord's hand and replied very hastily, "Come, see your beloved. May that Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu rise within my heart and thus make me mad also." This verse is Gauranga Stava, Kalpavriksha number 7. Hena Kale Gopala Balava Bogala Gaila Sanka Ganta Arisaha Arati Bashila. The offering of food known as Gopala Balava Boga was then given to Lord Jagannath, and arati was performed with the sound of the conch and ringing of bells. Boga Sarile Jagannathera Sevaka Gana Pasaralana Prabhutani Kaila Agamana. When the arti finished, the prasadam was taken out, and the servants of Lord Jagannath came to offer some to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mala Purana Prasadadila Prabhurahate Ashvara Dure Rahogyara Gande Mana Mate. The servants of Lord Jagannath first garlanded Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then offered him Lord Jagannath's prasadam. The prasadam was so nice that its aroma alone, to say nothing of its taste, would drive the mind mad. Bahumulya prasada se vastu sarvotama tara alpa kauyaite sevaka karila yatana. The prasadam was made of very valuable ingredients, therefore the servant wanted to feed Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu a little portion of it. Tara alpalana prabhu jihwate yadi dila arasava govindera anchale mandila. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu tasted a little of the prasadam. Govinda took the rest and bound it in the ends of his wrapper. Caitanyamrta svada pana prabhuda chamatkara sarvange pulakad netre bahiashru dhara. To Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the prasadam tasted millions upon millions of times better than nectar, and thus he was fully satisfied. The hair all over his body stood on end, and incessant tears flowed from his eyes. I wish we had that same mood when taking prasadam. Edravyeta swara kahan haite aila Krishnara adaramrita ite sancharila. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu considered, where has such a taste in this prasadam come from? Certainly it is due to having been touched by the nectar of Krishna's lips. Ebuje Mahaprabhura Premavesha Kaila Jagannathera Sevakadeki Samvarana Kaila. Understanding this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt an emotion of ecstatic love for Krishna, but upon seeing the servants of Lord Jagannath, he restrained himself. Sukriti Labhya Pela Lava Palena Bara Bhara Ishvara Sevaka Puche Ki Arta Ihara. The Lord said again and again, only by great fortune may one come by a particle of the remnants of food offered to the Lord. The servants of the Jagannath temple inquired, what is the meaning of this? And this is a very amazing purport by Prabhupada. The remnants of Krishna's food are mixed with his saliva. Of course, Krishna's saliva is not contaminated like the saliva of someone who is or has a material body. It's Satchidananda Vigraha. In the Mahabharata and the Skanda Purana it is stated, Mahaprasadi Govinda Nama Brahmani Vaishnavi Swalpa Punyavatam Rajan Vishvasho Naivajayate. Persons who are not very highly elevated in pious activities cannot believe in the remnants of food, prasadam of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, nor in Govinda, the holy name of the Lord, nor in the Vaishnavas. It's a question of faith. Prabhu kahe eye dila Krishna dharamrita Brahmadi Dulaba E Nindaye Amrita. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied, these are remnants of food that Krishna has eaten, and thus turned to nectar with his lips. It surpasses heavenly nectar, and even such demigods as Lord Brahma find it difficult to obtain. Krishnaraye Bhukta Shesha Tarapela Nama Tara Eka Lava Eye Payase Bhagyavan. Remnants left by Krishna are called Pela. Anyone who obtains even a small portion must be considered very fortunate. Samanya Bhagya Kahite Tara Prapti Nahi Haya Krishnarayante Purna Kripa Saitaha Paya. One who is only ordinarily fortunate cannot obtain such mercy. Only persons who have the full mercy of Krishna can receive such remnants. Imagine how fortunate we all are. Sukriti Sabdekai Krishna Kripa Hitu Punya Sayanrahaya Pela Payase Danya. The word Sukriti refers to pious activities performed by the mercy of Krishna. One who is fortunate enough to obtain such mercy receives the remnants of the Lord's food and thus becomes glorious. Etabali Prabhu Tasavadi Vidaya Dila Uppala Bhoga Dikya Prabhu Nijavasa Aila. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bade farewell to all the servants. After seeing the next offering of food to Lord Jagannath, a function known as Uppala Bhoga, he returned to his own quarters. So there's that whole story in the Chaitanya Mangal about Narada Muni wanting to taste the remnants of food offered to Lord Vishnu. And in order to do that, he served Lakshmi for something like, it was 100 celestial years. And then after that, she said, what do you want? He said, I want Lord Vishnu's remnants. And she said, I've been asked by Lord Vishnu not to give his remnants out to anyone. And so, what am I going to do? It's a dilemma. I promise you a benediction, and I have to listen to Lord Vishnu. So she went to Lord Vishnu, and she said, I have a problem here. I promised that I would fulfill his request, but also you told me not to give out any remnants. So what should I do? And Lord Vishnu said, wait until I'm not looking, and then sneak some remnants to him. And she snuck some remnants to Narada Muni, and he started dancing in ecstasy. And when he started dancing in ecstasy, Lord Shiva noticed, and Lord Shiva said, do you have any for me? And Narada Muni couldn't find any, but there was a little under his fingernail. And he gave that to Lord Shiva. Lord Shiva started dancing in ecstasy, practically destroyed the universe. In order to save all of us, Durga stopped him. And Lord Shiva got very upset. Why did you stop me? I was in ecstasy. And she said, you were going to destroy the whole universe. And then she asked, why are you dancing? And Lord Shiva said, I got some Mahaprasadam. And she said, did you save any for me? And he said, you're Maya. You're the illusory energy. You don't get any prasadam. She got so upset she began to perform austerities. He invoked the presence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, asked for prasadam, and not only asked for prasadam for herself, but she asked for prasadam for all of us. That is, all of her children in the material world, including you and me. Majana Karyad Kaila Bhiksha Nirvahana Krishna Dhamma Dharamrita Sada Antare Smarana. After finishing his noon duties, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu ate his lunch, but he constantly remembered the remnants of Krishna's food. Maya Kritya Karena Preme Garagara Amana Kashte Samvarana Karena Avesha Sakhana. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu performed his external activities, but his mind was filled with ecstatic love. With great difficulty he tried to restrain his mind, but it would always be overwhelmed by very deep ecstasy. Sanja Kritya Kari Puna Nijagana Sange Nivrite Vasila Nana Krishna Katarange. After finishing his evening duties, Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu sat down with his personal associates in a secluded place and discussed the pastimes of Krishna in great jubilation. Prabhora Ingite Govinda Prasada Anila Purivaratire Prabhu Kichu Pathaila. Following the indications of Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu, Govinda brought the prasadam of Lord Jagannath. The Lord sent some to Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati. Ramananda Sarvabhauma Swarupadi Kane Sabhari Prasadadila Kariya Pantane. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu then gave shares of the prasadam to Ramananda Roy, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Swarup Damodar Goswami, and all the other devotees. Prasadera Surabhya Madhurya Kari Ashvadana Olokika Ashvade Savara Vismita Haila Mana. As they tasted the uncommon sweetness and fragrance of the prasadam, everyone's mind was struck with wonder. This is the glorification of prasadam. How fortunate are we to take prasadam? Prabhukaya Savahaya Prakata Dravya Aikshava Karpura Maricha Elacha Lavanga Gavya Rasavasa Gudatbaka Ariyata Sava Prakata Vastura Swada Sabaranu Baba. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu said these ingredients such as sugar, camphor, black pepper, cardamom, cloves, butter, spices, and licorice are all material. Everyone has tasted these material substances before. So the word prakrita refers to things tasted for the sense gratification of the conditioned soul. Such things are limited by the material laws. Sri Caitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to make the point that material things have already been experienced by materially absorbed persons who are interested only in sense gratification. Sedravya eta ashvara ganda lokatita ashvara karyadeka sabara pratita. However, the Lord continued, in these ingredients there are extraordinary tastes and uncommon fragrances. Just taste them and see the difference in the experience. Ashvara dure rahu Yaragande mate amana apana vina hanya madura karaya vismarana. Apart from the taste, even the fragrance pleases the mind and makes one forget any other sweetness besides its own. Tate dravye krishna dara sparsha haila adare raguna saba ihate sancharila. Therefore, it is to be understood that the spiritual nectar of Krishna's lips has touched these ordinary ingredients and transferred to them all their spiritual qualities. Since everyone had previously tasted these ingredients, why had they become extraordinary and spiritually delicious? This was proof that food, prasadam, becomes uncommonly flavorful and delicious by touching Krishna's lips, lotus lips. Alokika gandha swara anya vismarna mahamadakahaya e Krishna darera guna. A fragrance and taste that are uncommon and greatly enchanting, and that make one forget all other experiences, are attributes of Krishna's lips. Aneka shu krite iha anache samprapti sabe ashvada karakari mahabhakti. This prasadam has been made available only as a result of many pious activities. Now taste it with great faith and devotion. Haridwani kari sabe kaila ashvadana ashvatite prema mata haila sabara mana. Loudly chanting the holy name of Hari, all of them tasted the prasadam. As they tasted, their minds became mad in the ecstasy of love. Premaveshe Mahaprabhu Yabe Yadila Ramananda Vraya Shloka Padite Lagila. In ecstatic love, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Roy to recite some verses. Thus Ramananda Roy spoke as follows. Surata Vardhanam Shoka Nashanam Svaritafe Venuna Shushtu Chumbitam Itararaga Vismaranam Rinam Vitara Viranaste Dharamritam. O hero of charity, please deliver unto us the nectar of your lips. That nectar increases lusty desires for enjoyment and diminishes lamentation in the material world. Kindly give us the nectar of your lips, which are touched by your transcendently vibrating flute, for that nectar makes all human beings forget all other attachments. Of course, that's the gopis, obviously. This is a quotation from Srimad Bhagavatam 10:31-14. Shloka Shuni Mahaprabhu Mahatushta Haila Vadhara Utkanta Shloka Padite Lagila. Upon hearing Ramananda Roy quote this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very satisfied. Then he recited the following verse, which had been spoken by Srimati Radharani in great anxiety. Vrajatula kulanganetara rasali trishnahara pativyad adaramrita sukati labya pilat lava tudajit ohiwalika sudalavi tika charvita same madanana mohana saki tanoti jiwaspriham. My dear friend, the all-surpassing nectar from the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Krishna can be obtained only after many, many pious activities. For the beautiful gopis of Vrindavan, that nectar vanquishes the desire for all other tastes. Madan Mohan always chews pan that surpasses the nectar of heaven. He is certainly increasing the desires of my tongue. This verse is found in the Govinda Lilamrita 8:8. So, of course, Madan Mohan is the name of Krishna. That means he who attracts Cupid. And Radharani, of course, is known as Madan Mohan Mohini. Eta kahi gora prabhu baba vishtahana tuishlokerarta kare palapa kariha. After saying this, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was overwhelmed by ecstatic loving emotions. Talking like a madman, he began to explain the meaning of the two verses. Very interesting. Tanumana karaya kshobha vadaya surata globa harsha shukari vara vinashaya pasharaya anya rasa jagat kare atmavasha lajak dharma darya kare kshaya nagara shuna tomara adara charita mataya narira mana jiva kare akarshana vicharite sava viparita. My dear lover, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said in the mood of Srimati Radharani, let me describe some of the characteristics of your transcendental lips. They agitate the mind and body of everyone. They increase lusty desires for enjoyment. They destroy the burden of material happiness and lamentation. And they make one forget all material tastes. The whole world falls under their control. They vanquish shame, religion, and patience, especially in women. Indeed, they inspire madness in the minds of all women. Your lips increase the greed of the tongue and thus attract it. Considering all this, we see that the activities of your transcendental lips are always paradoxical. So, of course, this is a very intimate statement. Oh my God, extremely intimate. And one should not equate it with the mundane, so-called loving exchanges that people have. It has nothing to do with it. Krishna's lips are non-different from him. His body is non-different from him. It's Satchidananda Vigraha. And the gopis, they are just trying to give Krishna pleasure. They are not trying to squeeze pleasure out of Krishna. Like in loving exchanges in this world, people are squeezing pleasure out of each other. That is why when there's some trouble in the physical relationship, then people break up. Yes. This is not love. It's trying to squeeze something. It's exploitation of the material world. Seeing a person as an object rather than seeing a person as a subject. Because you may be bewildered and think, I'm seeing the person as a subject, but actually you're seeing them as an object to give you enjoyment. Achukanari rakaya kahiteva siye laja tamara darabada drishta raya purushe kare akarchana apana piyaiti mana anya rasa sava pasaraya. My dear Krishna, since you are a male, it is not very extraordinary that the attraction of your lips can disturb the minds of women, but I am ashamed to say that your impudent lips sometimes even attract your flute, which is also considered a male. It likes to drink the nectar of your lips, and thus it also forgets all other tastes. Sachetana rahudure, achetana sachetana kare, tamara darabada vajikara, tamara venu shushkendana, tara janmaya indriya mana, tare apana priyaya nirantara. Aside from conscious living beings, even unconscious matter is sometimes made conscious by your lips. Therefore your lips are great magicians. Paradoxically, although your flute is nothing but dry wood, your lips constantly make it drink their nectar. They create a mind and senses in the dry wooden flute and give it transcendental bliss. Of course, any flute that comes to Krishna's lips is a spirit soul. It's Krishna's paraphernalia, is not ordinary bamboo. Venu drishta purushahana purushadara piya piya gopigane janaya nijapana ahoshuna gopigana pale pino tamara dana tamara yadi take abhimana. The flute is a very cunning male who drinks again and again the taste of another male's lips. It advertises its qualities and says to the gopis, "O gopis, if you are so proud of being women, come forward and enjoy your property, the nectar of the lips of the Supreme Personality of Godhead." Tabi more krodakari lajabaya dharma chari chari dimu karasi pana nahi pimu nirantaradamaya mora nakhika dara ani dekon trinera samana. Thereupon the flute angrily said to me, "Give up your shame, fear, and religion. Come drink the lips of Krishna. On that condition I shall give up my attachment for them. If you do not give up your shame and fear, however, I shall continuously drink the nectar of Krishna's lips. I am slightly fearful because you also have a right to drink that nectar, but as for others, I consider them like straw." Wow. Adharmata nijasware sanchariya sevale akarshya nitri jagatjana amara dharma bhayakari rahi yari darya dati tabe amaya kari idambana. The nectar of Krishna's lips, combined with the vibration of his flute, attracts all the people of the three worlds. But if we gopis remain patient out of respect for religious principles, the flute then criticizes us. Why don't you take your due? So I'll just do this one more verse. Nivikasaya guruage lajadharma karaya tyage Keshe Darayena Lana Yaya Anikaraya Damaradasi Shuni Loka Kare Hasi E Mata Narire Nachaya. The nectar of your lips and the vibration of your flute join together to loosen our belts and induce us to give up shame and religion, even before our superiors. As if catching us by our hair, they forcibly take us away and deliver us unto you to become your maidservants. Hearing of these incidents, people laugh at us. We have thus become completely subordinate to your flute, or to the flute. So today we read from text 50 to text 128. It was very intimate. These last few chapters are very, very deep. And so we can appreciate, obviously, but it's very, very intimate. So not much I can say about them. It's very intimate in Krishna's dealings with the gopis, and the perverted reflection of those dealings is the loving affair, not the loving affairs, the lusty affairs of this world. In the 15th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes this world as a reflection of the spiritual realm. And of course he uses the example of a banyan tree. A banyan tree actually has its roots up and also its branches down, and also it has its branches up and its roots down. It has all over the place, and nobody can get out of the banyan tree and discover where it begins and where it ends. In the same way, everything in this material world, it's hard to discover where things begin and where things end as far as the spirituality is concerned. And so therefore Krishna says in the 5th chapter of the 5th verse, the 15th chapter, he says, Nirmana Moha, the way to get out of this world, the way to get cut down this tree with detachment, the weapon of detachment, is Nirmana Moha, Jitasanga Dosha, Avyatma Nicha, Vinivrita Kama, Dwandwar Vimukars, Sukaduka Samgar, Gachanchamuda Padamavyam Tat. To become free from false prestige and illusion, Jitta Sang and bad association, Jitta Sanga Dosha, Avyatma Nitya, and to take up good association, Avyatma Nitya, Vinivrita Kama, give up lust. Lust means to try to enjoy people with Vinivrita Kama. Dwandvar Vimuktar Sukaduka Sangyar Gachanchamuda Padamavyam Tat. Okay, so we have time for questions. So everybody except for Rakesh can answer a question today. Ask a question. All right, raise your hand if you want to ask a question. I've allowed you to unmute yourselves.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
Oh, okay, who's first? Okay, Priya Gopi is first.
Hare Krishna, Gurudev. Please accept my obeisances. How are you doing today?
I am doing fine, and you're doing all right, hopefully.
Yes, Gurudev. I have a question, Gurudev. I have been reading this Chaitanya Charitamrta with you, but I think 3-4 years back, when first I read Chaitanya Charitamrta, and I'm not qualified to read this book, but somehow I read this book, and it is like I failed to understand. When I was reading this book, I was constant, in tears, I was crying. So I still struggled to understand what was going on with me, because at that time I was not into full Krishna consciousness.
Yeah.
And I was just chanting. I just started chanting 16 rounds. I mean, not even 16 rounds. It was like 4 or 5 rounds at that time.
Okay. So you want to know why you were experiencing ecstasy?
Yes. I mean, I was not into full Krishna conscious. I was just chanting 4 or 5 rounds. And I just read the whole book.
Yeah, that's described by Srila Rupa Goswami in the Nectar of Devotion, that there's certain types of ecstasy, either burnt up or dried up ecstasy, that even people who are not Krishna conscious can experience. It's not completely transcendental, but it's a reflection of the transcendental ecstasy by coming in contact with very powerful Krishna Katha, because Srila Prabhupada's Katha is actually quite powerful, and coming in contact with the Vishuddha Sattva. So you're actually experiencing Sometimes nobody's would call that a coming attraction, just like a brief coming attraction, brief,
Yep.
a brief exhibition of what is in what you can experience in the future when we become Krishna conscious. So yes, that Rupa Goswami explains that. I've seen that too with many people. Sometimes people have come to a Hare Krishna festival and they're not devotees, and some people are even meat eaters, and they'll say, "Wow, I'm experiencing so much ecstasy. What are you doing here?" I'm experiencing ecstasy just by being in the environment. So,
Yes, Gurudev.
so that's a common experience that many people have. And actually, I experienced that before I came to the movement too, just by hearing Prabhupada on the radio. This is before I was introduced to Krishna consciousness. But I heard Prabhupada chanting on the radio, and I felt so much internal ecstasy that my whole life changed just by hearing Prabhupada on the radio. So yes, that's what you experience. Even if you
Thank
don't
you,
understand,
Gurudev.
even if you don't understand, the transcendental sound vibration will enter into the heart. Very
Thank you,
good.
Gurudev.
Nice question. So, Madhava, you have a question.
Hare Krishna Dandavat Maharaj. So wonderful. It's very, very, very interesting. It's hard to control the kind of feeling in the mind, especially when the verse number 125. I don't know. You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you fine.
Okay, so in verse number 125, the flute is written as cunning male. So there is Krishna male and flute also male. Can you explain a little bit? It's a very, very interesting, mind-boggling, this 125, where flute is just a cunning male inviting gopis as female to drink the lips from the lips of Sri Krishna. It's very interesting. Can you talk a little bit more?
125. All right, 125.
Yes.
The flute. It's about the flute. The flute is
Yeah.
the flute is a cunning male who drinks again in the taste of another male's lips. In other words, the flute is drinking the taste of Krishna's lips. It actually taunts the gopis and says to the gopis, if you're so proud, you're women, you should come forward and enjoy this. But the point is the gopis can't come forward because at that point, because they're afraid of the social pressure, if they do that in front of everybody else. So sometimes Krishna is playing his flute in front of everybody in Vrindavan, and the gopis are there, of course, but then also the gopis' husbands are there, Mother Yashoda is there, Nanda Maharaj is there, so that the flute is just taunting them, come forward, and the gopis can't come forward at that point. So
But
that's
why?
really what's...
Yeah, but why this? I thought Krishna is the only male. Everything is females. Why this flute is said cunning male? Why is this?
No, the flute is not. The flute is not female. The flute is male.
How it is?
How is it male?
Yeah.
It is male. That's the description.
Because as we learned that every Krishna
Everything.
is the only male. Everything else is female.
No, everything is female ontologically. This is an interesting term. Ontologically means that when we talk about everybody in the spiritual world, or all of us, we're all prakriti, which in one sense means female. But we may not manifest in our spiritual bodies a female body, just like Nanda Maharaj is ontologically prakriti. Well, he's Shakti, actually, Shakti. But anyway, many of the gopis are ontologically prakriti, to Krishna's Purusha, which means female in an ontological sense, but in a manifested sense, they may appear in male bodies. I hope that makes sense.
Yeah, that's what I see. Yeah, you described with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, all his associates. There are different gopis, of course, they are in male body, but
Right.
they behaving or acting as something like those gopis, which were a female bodies. Is that what it is?
Yes, yes. But really the flute is not a female.
I see.
Flute is male in the spiritual world. It's definitely not female. But in ontological sense, because everyone in the spiritual world, other than Krishna, is Prakriti. Which means, in one sense, the word Prakriti can be translated as female, and in another sense, it can be translated as energy, Krishna's energy. So, it's female, and many of the Prakritis have a male form in the spiritual world. Otherwise, you wouldn't have the coward boys. You wouldn't have Nanda Maharaj. You wouldn't have the elderly coward men. You wouldn't have so many entities are male forms in the spiritual world.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Okay? All right. I think that's all we have time for tonight. It's a very esoteric subject matter. I can't say that I can realize all that. So we will see everybody tomorrow. Tomorrow, of course, we have our Sunday feast, so it may be a different topic. So, let's see. Yeah, tomorrow may be a different topic because it's a Sunday feast, and I'm not sure. Right now it's raining outside here. A lot. It's probably flooding. Okay, thank you very much. We'll see everybody the next day or two. Haribol, all glory